Hello, welcome to yet another video of Acharya Nidana Academy. And in this particular video, we are going to discuss the next subtype of Abhyantara Hetu, that is Tiryak Gati. So far we have discussed the different types of Bahya Hetu, that is Sannikrishta, Viprakrishta, Vichara and Pradhanika. After that, we have discussed something about the Asatmendriyarthasanya, Prajnaparada and Parinama. That is three types of the Bahya Hetu. Three types of the Bahya Hetu, that is the Dosha Hetu, Vyadhi Hetu, and Upaya Hetu, and two types Utpadaka Hetu and Vyanjaka Hetu. Now, we are started with from the last 2 or 3 different sessions, we have started with the types of Abhyantara Hetu. Today, we are going to discuss about the Tiryak Gati. So, regarding the Tiryak Gati, what actually Tiryak Gati refers to? The Tiryak Gati refers to, it is the, what do you say, that the oblique movement. Oblique movement in the sense they are not moving in the upward direction, downward direction. So why this oblique movement we are specifically highlighting? Because so the most of the pathogens they are going to get enter through the oral cavity. So some less amount may be entering through the nasal passages, and some others may they are going to enter either through the rectum, that is the anus, urethra and vagina. Less frequently are may be observed into or absorbed into the body either through the eyes, ears and breasts, etc. These are the plus even most frequently another major thing, that is through the vagina. So these are the uh, most commonest, what do you say, that the route of entry. But when you think about more the alimentary canal, that is from the mouth to the anus, it is a passage wherein most of the pathogens that are going to get enter into that. And if at all the movement of these pathogens, they are moving in the upward direction in the alimentary canal, that is being termed as urdhvagati. And if the pathogens are entering the pathogens are moving through the anus, they are going to be considered as adhogati. And if the pathogens are entering from the alimentary canal to the periphery, in the sense it is going to get enter into the intravascular compartment, then interstitial compartment and intracellular compartment, then we are going to say that is the Tiryak Gati. So regarding different examples as such, whenever if you say Urdhvagati, as such, in the previous CVT we have to look into if the person is having the vomiting, then we are going to say that is the pathogens are eliminated from the alimentary canal, that is being termed as Urdhvagati. Or if the pathogens are entering via or the eliminated via anus, that is being termed as Adhogati. And Tiryak means what? So the oblique movement. Whenever the person is having the entry of the pathogens through the mouth, they are going to get stored in the stomach for almost 2 hours. That are going to get, if at all they are going to get moved from stomach to the small intestine, then that these pathogens are remaining in the small intestine for a period of 6 hours. And if at all these pathogens entering from the small intestine to large intestine, that may be residing in the large intestine for a period of 24 to 48 hours. This is about the presence of the pathogens. And as the depending upon the duration of this, the stasis of the pathogens in the alimentary canal, they are going to get produce the pathological event. That is what we can say, that is the inflammatory reaction that can happen in the stomach or small intestine or large intestine. These inflammatory reactions are responsible for the production of inflammatory markers. And when these inflammatory markers are being produced, they are going to get damage the either the mucosa of the stomach or small intestine or large intestine. When there is damage is happening in the small stomach or small intestine or large intestine, these pathogens are being present in the stomach or small and large intestine that are going to get enter into the capillaries, which are being responsible for the movement of these pathogens from the capillaries into the lymphatic system. From there, it is entering into the heart. From there, it will be entering into the aorta and capillaries, arteries and capillaries. In that way, the movement of the pathogens that are going to take place from the stomach or small intestine, large intestine. This is what we can say that is about Tiryak Gati. Further, the pathogens they can enter from the capillaries of the cardiovascular system into the interstitial spaces. That is what we can say that is about interstitial compartment. So, depending upon the blood circulation, etc., these pathogens they are going to get enter from the intrastitial compartment to intracellular compartment. Thus, the movement of the pathogens from stomach to intravascular compartment into interstitial compartment into intracellular compartment, or otherwise the movement of the pathogens from small intestine into intravascular compartment into the interstitial compartment and into the intracellular compartment, or the pathogens of which are present in the large intestine moving into the intravascular compartment, there to interstitial compartment, there to intracellular compartment are being termed as Tiryak Gati. Let us say one example regarding this. So, in the text, it is being mentioned that Avishyandini Bhojjani Stulani Chaguruni Cha Mamsavahini Dushyanti Bhuktva Cha Swapatam Deva. When you think about it, there are two examples, two Nidana or two causative factors that are being mentioned. That is Abhishyandi Ahara, such as curds or fish intake. Sthula Ahara, that means which are considered to be responsible for the increase of the sthulata. For example, black gram items, etc. So they are, if the person is going to take these substances in excess, that is the first and foremost thing, the mamsa dhatu, that is going to get afflicted as per the Ayurveda fundamentals. So how this particular information, how this particular pathogenic events that can take place? We know that human body is composed of almost 10 billion capillaries. Depending upon the etiological factor, etc., the blood is going to get channelized, wherein all the pathogenic events they are going to get triggered. So that means for this you need to know about two main concepts, that is what is considered to be Sterling forces and sludged blood. I'm going to discuss these informations in brief regarding the Sterling forces and sludged blood. When you think about Sterling forces, for this you need to know about my previous video regarding the Sterling forces. So, and regarding Sterling forces, I'm going to discuss in brief. That is going to get happening across the capillaries and interstitial spaces. So these are nothing but the pressure gradients which are being formed by the water and electrolytes and proteins. The water content present in the capillaries, that is responsible for the hydrostatic pressure. What do you mean by hydrostatic pressure? Hydrostatic pressure is nothing but it is the one which is responsible for the push effect. the one which is responsible for the push effect. That is what is considered to be here red colored arrow that shows. Whereas the one which is considered to be happening in the yellow arrow, that is being actually generated by the proteins and electrolytes present in the capillaries. That is what is considered to be pulling effect. So this is what is considered to be oncotic pressure as such. The same thing happening at the venous end of the capillary, but here when you think about the hydrostatic pressure, it is comparatively lesser in the venous capillary, venous end of the capillary, whereas oncotic pressure is in both the occasions it will be the same throughout the capillaries. Similarly, the hydrostatic pressure and oncotic pressure is also present in the interstitial space. So, wherein hydrostatic pressure is comparatively lesser than the oncotic pressure, whereas in the capillaries, hydrostatic pressure is much more in the arterial end of the capillary, whereas hydrostatic pressure is very much lesser than oncotic pressure at the venous end of the capillary. These are the forces, they are going to be responsible for the movement of the nutrients, etc., from the capillary to the interstitial space at the arterial end, and at the venous end, that is responsible for the movement of the metabolites, etc., from the interstitial spaces to the capillaries. This is what is considered to be the Stirling forces as such. But what do you mean by sludged blood? Sludged blood refers to the one which is considered to be slow movement of the blood in the capillaries. When you think about the arterial and venous end of the capillary, the movement of the blood will be happening very slow at the venous end. Why? When you think about the whole capillary, the arterial end of the capillary is having more amount of the water portion, whereas venous end of the capillary is having less amount of the water portion. Because the water from the arterial end, as they move into the venous end, that is responsible for the transport of the fluid, etc., from the capillary to interstitial space. That is the reason when the components of the blood is moving towards the venous end, that is responsible for the slow movement of the blood. This is natural. This is physiological. Whenever there is an pathogen is being present, for example, this is the let us assume this is a pathogen and it is present in the capillaries in between the interstitial space. In that particular situation, what actually happens is that is responsible for the more amount of the fluid to move from capillaries to this interstitial space. And when there is more amount of the fluid is moving from the capillaries to interstitial space, what actually happens is this is responsible for the thickened blood. That means the viscosity of the blood is going to get increased here. In that particular sense, the movement of the blood starts from these are the different areas of the other capillaries also. Or the movement of the blood or the fluid will be happening from these preferential channels also. Hence, the blood or the sludged blood is going to get increased at this particular capillaries and these preferential channels and these other capillaries also. Hence, this may be an initiating factor for the disease manifestation. So, these are the ones, they are responsible for the specifically the Tiryak Gati type of the disease, that is the movement of the dosha. Thereby, the disease manifestation starts at the tissue level. So, take home message from today's discussion, that is Tiryak Gati refers to the movement of the pathogens or the dosha from the stomach, small intestine or large intestine into intravascular compartment. From there into interstitial compartment. From there to intracellular compartment is being termed as Tiryak Gati. Whereas the movement of the pathogens or the dosha is happening through the mouth, etc. That is considered to be the two from the alimentary canal. That is termed as Urdhva Gati. The movement of the pathogens from the alimentary canal to the anus, that is termed as Adho Gati. So, to understand the concept of Tiryak Gati, we have to be thorough with the two main concepts. One, that is Stirling forces and sludged blood. Dear ANA members, what are the major key takeaways from today's discussion mentioned in the comment box below? What is the one particular video or the concept that you would like to hear in this particular channel mentioned in the comment box? And if you are liking this particular video, then put a thumbs up and spread this particular video to the maximum number of true Ayurveda learners. That's all for today. There's something more in the next video. Thank you.